Gifts of Love has a new executive director. Ryan Pettengill recently joined the Avon-based nonprofit that responds to the needs of working individuals and their families impacted by crisis. For Ryan, this is something of a homecoming. He actually grew up in Glastonbury. Hello, I'm Andrea Obston, and welcome to the 5th episode of Gifts of Love in the Community. Ryan, I'm delighted to introduce you to the community as Gifts of Love new executive director. Welcome back to New England.
Thank you so much. It's an honor I'm honored to be here, and it's wonderful to be back.
We are happy to have you. So tell me a little bit about what about this position appealed to you. Why Gifts of Love?
Well, my career has zigzagged a bit, and I'm so excited that I'm here at the tail end of my career doing what I think have always meant to be doing. In the first stages of my career, I was in the for-profit world. I was actually in the sports industry, and was really passionate about that. But as I got more involved in community-based programs, and specifically bringing health-focused programs to populations that wouldn't normally be exposed to those types of services, my mind kind of shifted in terms of my career path and what makes me tick, truthfully. And so about 10 years ago, I shifted over to the nonprofit side and started getting more involved in bringing health-focused programs to communities that need it the most. So when I had the opportunity to join this organization, which is an incredible organization and so passionate about serving the community here, my homeland in Connecticut, I couldn't resist. I had to come back and lead the organization. So.
Well, as a New Englander, I'm delighted that you call it your homeland. Tell me a little bit about what you hope for Gifts of Love.
We've really established ourselves as a leader in Connecticut, not just in Hartford, not just in this immediate region, but in the entire state as somebody who can provide direct services, foundation services to people who need it the most. And so, the quick answer to that is, what are our short and long-term goals? We want to be more impactful. We want to reach more people. We want to be able to provide more services, food and clothing, and some of the other services that we provide. But we also want to establish our place in a chain of services, and a chain of kind of a wraparound approach to serving the communities that need it the most through our partners, so we can complement one another and get our clients back on their feet and help them improve the quality of their lives.
So what do you mean by wraparound services? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, in terms of what makes me tick, I'll make it about me for a moment. I was born into the opportunity where I never knew what it was like to be hungry. I had a family who could provide stability for me, and as a result of that, that influenced my academic success, my opportunities in terms of my career and job placement, and just my overall quality of life, because I had those foundational needs. That is why Gifts of Love exists, to help more people have that same support and structure so that they can improve the quality of their lives. But we're also very aware that we're not the only service provided, and we're not the only filling the only need that they have. So we have a number of partners in this area and in the Hartford area and Farmington Valley and beyond that can help complement what we're providing to our clients to really help them thrive.
Wonderful. Well, you brought it up. So talk a little bit about, you've had some fascinating career opportunities. Talk a little bit about some of the work that brought you here, the last job you did, and maybe even some of the things before that.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned before, my career shifted a little bit. I think the job that made me really kind of reconsider my path was at a school called the Seed School, which is this amazing program that was founded in DC. The idea is that if you create a boarding school environment with the structure that is typically reserved for a more affluent population and provide it, in DC, the one that I worked at was in DC, provide that opportunity to people that wouldn't normally be exposed to that type of academic, quality of academics, then they could thrive like anybody else. And so, we're focused on not just academics, but some of the life skill components that we could provide some of the structure, including solving some food insecurity issues by providing, 3 square meals a day and providing food for families when they go home, but also like more general sense of life skills programming. I followed the founder of that project from the start, and when he was ready to start a campus and start that curriculum, I was all in. I thought that was really an impactful model. And so that was my introduction into the world of public health and programming that influences underserved populations, and really kind of shifted my mindset. So, I won't bore you with my whole career, but that's really kind of what took me to some of my most recent work. I was the executive director of a nonprofit called the Grassroots Project in DC, which was focused on, when I was there initially, is just focused on HIV prevention, but expanded to include a more holistic sense of health. And we had a unique model of being able to walk into public schools throughout DC public school systems and deliver our programming during the academic day. So we're really reaching a lot of families that other nonprofits were struggling to reach by being school-based, and talking to them about sexual health, about the risk behavior that we knew through research that they were engaging in. And we were very intentional as to our key messaging, or to match the data that we had in terms of risk behavior and so on. So that was, a really meaningful experience in my life. During that time, I got to work on the Affordable Care Act and getting the message out to communities that are oftentimes very, mistrusting, I guess, of government entities coming in and trying to force programs on them. And so we had a unique relationship. I was able to work on various committees to get information into poor communities, into public housing communities in DC. That was a really meaningful experience in my life. Most recently, I worked for an organization called You Can Play, which was focused on LGBTQ plus inclusion in sport of all levels. So we worked from NHL and NFL all the way down to local rec centers and high schools and so on, to help break down barriers for that community and help build allies. Diversity is a priority for me here at Gifts of Love. It's one of our kind of key goals for the near future, is to understand our gaps, both on the staff and in our volunteer base, and help really understand our D&I initiatives and how we can challenge ourselves to make sure all identities are represented and all identities feel welcome to participate in the services that they need through us.
You are a big believer in personal community service. I know that from chatting with you. Tell us a little bit about that.
I don't think that every person on the earth has an obligation, but I do feel that we all have an opportunity. And I often speak of that balance with my staff and my volunteers and funders and so on, that every little bit helps, and you don't have to be a full-time executive director to feel like you've made a difference in the world. I've only been on the job for a week and a half. I've already collected so many incredible stories. We have a gentleman in one of our offices who we met because he was picking cans out of our dumpster initially, but we actually got to know him and he got to know what we did. And now he drops off a $1 bill once a week, and he's done it for a number of weeks. So he's giving what he can give. And if you don't think that makes a difference, $50 a year makes a tremendous difference, right? Our services in terms of pound per, dollar, that can feed a family for quite a few days, just that donation that gentleman has been dropping off. So we're so thankful for every little bit. Personally, I feel an obligation to do what I can to serve my community, but I really feel that we can all do our part, and I like inspiring others to do their part.
Well, I can't talk to you thoroughly without talking about the other side of you, which is Ryan Pettengill, the athlete. You've got some impressive cred there. Talk about that.
Well, I don't know about that. I kind of consider myself a weekend warrior now. But yeah, in my previous life, I was a college swimmer. And after I graduated, I think like many college athletes, I hung up the goggles. I said, oh my God, I'm never going back there again. And it didn't take too long before I said, oh, actually, being fit and exercising and being engaged in sport to some level is actually really meaningful to me. I lost sight of that. And just leading a healthy lifestyle changes my whole identity. It changes how I interact with my kids, and now, being a good husband and just having energy during the day and all that. It's really become part of my identity. And I got into endurance sports. I am now an ultra runner. So, 50 milers and 50Ks and so on. I'm very slow. You could barely call it running. It's perhaps jogging or fast walking, but I still do it. I get out there. I love being outside. And in my previous life, I got involved in Ironmans, which are very long distance triathlons. Had some fun coaching a team in DC filled with people with similar goals. So, but I think you're sensing a trend. I really enjoy being associated with programs and opportunities for people to improve their quality of life and improve their ability to lead healthy lifestyle. Whether that means getting somebody off the couch to a couch to 5K program, or just improving their habits, whatever the case may be, or being involved in something as big as Ironman or a 50-mile race. I enjoy being around it all.
You are a lifelong learner. You have a very impressive academic path. Tell the community a little bit about that.
I have no ego, and I think that served me well. Maybe I'm too old to have an ego anymore, but I'm really self-aware and I'm aware of my strengths and weaknesses, and I'm able to speak openly about them. And I know as an executive director in this role, I have some gaps, and so I love filling those gaps when I can. Learning more about things that I haven't been exposed to, and that can mean a lot of things. It can mean getting to know different identities of the people that we serve, but also means tapping into the academic community and understanding the data in some sphere that I haven't been a part of before. So I have a degree, a master's degree in education with a focus on sport management and physical education. And I, as I have said, as my career has shifted, I realized that I should have gone to school for public health. And that's really what makes me tick. And that was inspired a bit by my work in DC. I had the opportunity to work closely with the Department of Health there, some federal agencies and some local agencies, where I said, gosh, these people are really making an amazing difference. And this is the lens at which I look at with the work I do. So anyway, I'm chipping away at another degree in public health. I also have to balance that with an 8-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter, and being a family person. And so really it's a long process, but I'm no longer concerned about grades or degrees or what people think of my resume. I'm doing it to learn and to kind of expand my horizons, I guess.
Tell us a little bit about your family. How are they liking New England?
They love it. So I have to do this. Here's my son Gavin. If he's in school now, or he'll probably be in school when this shows, so we'll record it, and shout out to Gavin. And then my daughter Emily, and I have a wife Elizabeth. So they love New England. My wife is from Oklahoma, which is actually where we just moved from, but we kind of are East Coast people at heart. So she's happy to be in the area. We moved the week before the hurricane, though. So, I know viewers here will, everybody kind of shared the hardship that week. We were out of power for a week, and
You moved and then you lost power?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I had spent months, bragging about the beautiful weather in Connecticut, especially at this time of year. We're moving just at the right time. We're going to see the leaves and the temperature's going to be perfect. And then, 5 days after we moved, the hurricane hit, and we were out for a week taking showers at the local high school. And but we are really happy here. We're a part of a great community in Glastonbury, but also the larger community. Enjoying being back.
So, talk a little bit about Gifts of Love. Set the stage for people who may not be familiar with what they do, and then talk a little bit about how you've had to adapt your operations for COVID.
Sure. So the mission of Gifts of Love is to really be a bridge. So we're not looking to be a permanent service to a family. We're helping a family be, sustainable. And so a part of our programs include, helping people with, people who are employed or have multiple jobs or are looking to go to school, but have stumbled or just facing hard times. We're looking to invest in them so that they can in turn lead a more sustainable life. To be more specific, we have a food pantry here in Avon, a food pantry in Hartford, and then the functioning farm in Simsbury, and through the partnership with the town, with 77 acres of farmable land. So in terms of our services, it would be a long conversation to talk about everything we do, but the core of what we do focuses on getting as many people food through our food pantries as possible, and through our partners. We partner with a lot of various organizations and provide them food to distribute as well. We have a clothing part of what we do, and part of our pantries have a clothing section. Since COVID, we've had to space things out differently, so we can't do as many household items, but that's part of what we do. And then we have a backpack program where over 300 kids in local schools are getting backpacks from us on Fridays, meant to feed their family on average of 4 people over the course of the weekend, because we know that so many kids only get their meals from their schools, and that might be, what they're getting at home is next to nothing. And so we try to fill that void. And then the programming at the farm is really incredible and unique. We have a number of farm to table events. We have a number of educational programming that goes through our farm. We have an incredible incubator program, which when we talk about the future, I think this is where we really are going to invest. What a cool model. So the idea is that we accept applications, people can apply and be accepted to learn alongside our full-time farmer with their own little plot of land, and understand not just how to feed the community and how the skill of farming, but as part of that experience, we instill in them a commitment to pay it forward. So many of our incubator program participants are looking to do what we're doing in the future, to help, create a sustainable model for their community and not just, build a program that's self-serving. So, we have a lot going on. I'm really, really thankful to all of our donors and our stakeholders that have been so supportive, all of our friends. We have an army of volunteers. When I came on board and I said, wow, our staff is how big? We're very small, super committed staff. They're just wonderful people, but we really rely heavily on the generosity of our volunteers, and I'm so thankful for that.
Talk a little bit about what the volunteers do, because I know I've been involved with Gifts of Love and I'm amazed at all the things that they do.
Oh gosh, there's a variety of things. They're kind of everywhere. They could be doing anything from delivering the backpacks to the schools, to receiving a donation and doing our inventory in our facilities, to touring a client and showing them, the food available to them through us. And I think most importantly, teaching them about the nutritional value of what they're getting. So we're not just putting a can in a bag. We have a really cool model of, borrowed from Food Share and some of our other programs, this simple red, yellow, green system, traffic light so they can understand things like sodium levels and understand basic nutrients that they're getting, as opposed to just a handout. So they're everywhere and they're really amazing. If you're interested in volunteering for us, we have information on the website, and it's just giftsoflovect.org. If you're interested in our services, if you're in need of our services, that link lives there as well. So I'll take the opportunity to say, reach out to me as well. If you're interested in volunteering, interested in learning more, jump on our website, call our main number, ask for Ryan. I'm here. I love chatting with people, whether you're a potential volunteer or funder, or you just want to learn more. I want to get to know you. So please reach out.
So you've opened up the topic of, you've now gotten somebody interested in Gifts of Love and they'd like to donate or they'd like to get involved. You've mentioned people who do the actual work. What else can the community do to support Gifts of Love?
Well, first and foremost, I would love viewers to help us get the word out. Just know that we're here. For potential clients to understand that we are a service available to them, but also to potential donors and volunteers and so on. If you'd like to donate food, we encourage you to contact us rather than just showing up, especially with our COVID precautions. There's the question earlier, I'm not sure I actually answered it, was how things have changed with COVID. We now have to limit the number of people in the building. We're very strict with that. We're very safe. So we take people's temperature at the door. Everybody's masked up. We practice social distancing. We script how many people are in the building at once. So you don't have to be concerned about safety when you come here. We all kind of have not just common sense precautions, but we're being extra careful. So make an appointment, come by, make a donation, look around your house, see if there's anything that you can donate that you're no longer using. I'll take the opportunity to just encourage people to be philanthropic this time of year. And it's, I'm a little bit off topic in terms of Gifts of Love, but I encourage people to give, whether it's to us or to another organization or charity. So when you're at the grocery store and they have a program where you can give an extra can or whatever it is, really think about how impactful that is for you, an extra 50 cents or whatever it is, versus the person on the other end and the client who needs that can of food. So I encourage you all, especially this time of year, it's getting colder, which is a huge challenge. We call it heat or eat. People, being challenged to pay their utility bills this time of year. 30 are the number of malnourished children in cold months goes up 30%. So that's a real phenomenon. The heat or eat thing is a real challenge. So So for what people can do, I just encourage you to be more philanthropic. And we get a lot of donations around Thanksgiving, we get a lot of donations to celebrate the holidays. Think about the other days of the year. What could you be doing, at other times of the year, and challenge yourself to really make a difference year round.
Well, I noticed a lot of people coming and wanting to do food drives. That's something that I've been very impressed with when it comes to Gifts of Love. Can anyone hold a food drive?
Absolutely. We were just having a conversation about our Hartford office, and the Hartford firefighters are doing a food drive. And I didn't even know that it was a thing that was planned. It was a really pleasant surprise, and we're so thankful for the fire department. But the best way to do it, if you want us to be your charity of choice, is to coordinate with us so we can best support you and make your event as successful as possible, and maybe help think through some of the logistics that you might not have thought of normally. But also for our internal logistics to plan for that food coming in on a specific day and make sure that we get it in the hands of the clients that need it the most.
And you actually have a sort of a how-to kit. So for someone who's never done a food drive, they could get that from Gifts of Love. Is that right?
That's right. And we can walk you through the process. It doesn't have to be a scary, cumbersome, thing. That we'll walk you through it. Your job is to inspire your peers to give.
Talk a little bit about, as we wrap things up, what you see for the future of Gifts of Love.
Well, when COVID hit, we really challenged ourselves to grow this year, whereas a lot of other organizations were thinking about shrinking and how to do that, safely, and what is the impact? What do we have to cut? We saw this as an opportunity to be even more impactful in our community, because our community needs us now more than ever. And so in 2020, we've seen growth in a number of different areas. That's our goal for 2021, is to continue to scale up, right? To challenge ourselves, to stretch our existing facilities and be creative into finding new ways of getting food into people's hands and other services. And also support the programs at the farm. And we have a full-time farmer who's stretched very thin and doing a lot of great work on his own, and with the help of these amazing volunteers that roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty literally at the farm, which is great. But the opportunity there is incredible. And so we want to best support Jim and the farm program so that there's a better connection to the other parts of our organization, and it can be as impactful as possible and best serve the needs of Simsbury. That was the spirit of the farm before we took over the lease, was that we made a commitment to Simsbury, and we're doing that. We're supporting Simsbury programs, but let's challenge ourselves to scale up in this next year.
Yeah, and you also use the produce at the farm, which is organic, for your clients and a number of other nonprofits like Simsbury Social Services, right?
That's correct. It is used, and not all of it channels just directly through Gifts of Love. We have a number of different partners that we're delivering to, but we had done a farm stand that was a temporary, bit of an experiment. I think it's safe to say that more of that will come in the future. I really like that idea. Talk about connectivity with the community, just the ability for Simsbury residents and Farmington Valley residents to just stop by and have an excuse to learn more about not just how their food is grown, but the programs that Gifts of Love has been able to do through the generosity of the town.
Wonderful. Well, Ryan, thank you so much today. I think we all learned a lot about you. I know all of us in the community welcome you here. We're delighted to have you on board. And if you are interested in supporting Gifts of Love with a donation or food, or you'd like to volunteer, please go to giftsoflovect.org. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Gifts of Love in the Community. Thank you for joining us.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.